And I remember in Sri Lanka, we were told over and over, you're not here to fix things. You're here to pronounce on the results. We saw serious attempts to fix things here. So I don't want to comment about Haiti and that too much, because this is now the subject of a court petition. And so we'll deal with that at some point in time.
Good.
Yes, go ahead.
The request that was made by the PVP to the Commissioner of Information for the names of the persons who they have not submitted. Any word on where we are with that?
Yes, we got a response from the Commissioner of Information. He suggested that we seek this information, first of all, from the agencies, write them directly. And then if there is no, we do not get any, the information, the requested information, then we can resort to his office.
All right.
I want to bring you back to sugar, actually. I just want to know what your take, I guess, is the level of the PPP's responsibility in relation to Wales. And I mean, the strategic plan from 2013 to 2017 was filled with a lot of inaccuracies, so you couldn't actually get a direct idea of what was actually happening based on the figures that just were never going to happen. None of the estates were ever going to be able to produce the level of sugar that was quoted in that strategic plan. So coming off of that, you have these ideas now about transferring the debt into equity for Gaisuko, but why didn't you implement some of these ideas when you had the opportunity?
But that is a pure judgment call, because how do you know they could not achieve those levels?
Because they weren't getting those figures going in, and then they weren't from 2013.
Exactly. It depended heavily on the amount of investment that the government was prepared to make to get up to those numbers. The increase in production from 2013 to 2014 was higher than from 2014 to 2015. I think they had already started an upward trajectory, and a lot of it depended on the capital input, the working capital and the capital input. And this is why we said, if we win the elections, we were prepared to put in the money, because we believe that if you get up to those production levels, that I believe are realistic, if you get up there, then the unit cost comes down. You start producing with the same amount of workers. You're producing twice as much sugar, and with the same fixed cost too. So it was essential that we get the production up. Increased productivity is vital. And that's why last week when I spoke, I showed that in 1990, with 16,000 employees, we produced just over half more than what we are producing in 2015. Just about half, with the same 16,000 workers, to show productivity has grown. It's key. That's key. But it is about these things. But the reality is that we have had issues. If you're saying that we didn't choose the right management, okay, that the people to head, the two persons that the government has now were there throughout the entire decline in the production. They were there from the beginning of the decline up to almost 2013. That's one. So then the reality of the price cut has not been factored in. So a lot of things could happen, but we had to deal with these issues. One thing you would have not found the PPP doing is closing Wales. That is categorical.
But you would have had to have already constitute into the development of that 2013 to 2017 strategic plan. You would have already had to know that in 2017 that EU was going to change its directive. You would have already seen the decline in sugar prices on the world market. You are coming with ideas now that you're not in government, that you could have simply started the implementation while you had the opportunity to do so.
But you have absolutely very little familiarity with the evolution of these plans. If you look at how many plans were produced in the past, you will see that every 2 years the strategic plans are done. It's like a strategic outlook and the annual budget. And so you have to keep adjusting these things to the reality of the present. They keep adjusting. It's not cast in stone. The strategic plan that was presented in 2014 to the members of the National Assembly, of course, if you assess it today, it will be different because you have to adjust to what took place between then and now. But the debts were clear. The long-term debts were not accumulated recently. The $60 billion of long-term debt were always in the book. They knew that. So to say now that, oh, we've just found the industry with all of this debt, they were part of loans that were taken since maybe 10 years ago. So they were part of the strategic plan that they saw. They spent 2 days in the Economic Services Committee going through those figures to claim that suddenly they know. Now, do we have problems with these industries? Yes, we do have problems. It's all, tons of problems. But the reality is that they go beyond profitability. And that's what I'm trying to get over. The profitability. What about the people in the surrounding areas? What about the people in the surrounding areas? Why, if we are thinking only profitability, why did we not close Linden immediately when it went into decline? And we inputted 1.5, the equivalent of $1.5 billion US dollars in today's term in that period. Why don't we stop this if we're so concerned about budget expenditure? Why don't we stop community support for these areas? We never did stop them in the PPP. In the last 10 years, PPP has been in office, and we spent $25 billion in supporting that community because it mattered. People matter. And that's one thing that PPP has no apology for making people matter. We're not callous, etc. Even if we had to adjust wheels, it wouldn't have been done this way. Not people hearing it from the airwaves.
All right,
Did
is there...
Did the party lobby, did your members of parliament that are on the Economic Services Committee, did you lobby to have the Economic Services Committee open to the public and open to the media? Because I understand that it's closed.
Is it closed? I didn't.
Yes.
You were there this morning, you said we can.
I didn't
Well,
even
I
realize
don't
that.
know.
I thought
I'm a member of the committee. We have never lobbied for closing it to the media.
we will support. We will support.
Open.
I'm in favor of Parliament doing its work in the open. If any committees in Parliament are closed, I would support opening up any to the public. I am in favor of opening up all the committees in Parliament to members of the public. We should also, like how C-SPAN does it, we should also stream those. Not just the main on meetings on when we meet at the full assembly, but we should stream those. I'm in favor of that. In fact, we should look at it if we can put a motion. Maybe we should put.
But I think the standing orders provide for the media to be present. Only on special circumstances they would meet in private.
Oh, really? But we should not even have those special circumstances because the economic affairs of this country are people's business too. I don't have a problem with it being debated in the public.
Mr. Jagdeo, if we can get...
Yeah. If we have anyone else before, and then we come back to you.
Any other new issues?
Then we can.
But we take this last one.
If we can have a quick...
You were with a new issue. You didn't ask the question yet. Let's get yours.
Ariana Gordon Gang with Wonderful. Mr. Jagdeo, your budget expectations.
Good.
All right. Okay. Let me go through. I'm sure you saw. Sure you saw this letter that we wrote the Minister of Finance on the 26th of November 2015. I had asked the General Secretary to make it public. And so we said for us to prepare for the presentation of the budget or the consultation, we would like to receive the following documents. We wanted the Commission of Inquiry report on Gaisuko at that time, November 26. We want the 5 years public sector investment program because it's a rolling program. We wanted the latest Bank of Guyana report, the stats bulletin. We would like to see the submissions by the 10 administrative regions. We wanted the IMF Article 4 consultation report. That's the latest one. And we wanted to get an actual income expenditure revenue statement for the period up to 20 November, when the letter went on, the actual and the forecast for the rest of the year. We also asked the government, since it has been a year, almost a year in office, that we'd like to receive copies of its sector strategies for rice, sugar, ICT, mining, tourism, health, education, housing, crime, and the forestry sector. We wanted to get their take on how they're approaching these issues, because we've always had sector strategies in these areas. We also said we would like to discuss with him, those were background information that we requested. The 9-point plan that was submitted by the MP who speaks for agriculture on our behalf, Mr. Siraj. I had asked him to write the Minister of Agriculture proposing a 9-point plan that could save the industry, we believe. We wanted to discuss the reduction of the corporate tax rate, the Public Procurement Commission, the reduction of VAT that they had promised. We wanted the reinstatement of water and electricity subsidy for old age pensioners, the reinstatement of grant, a substantial increase in old age pension. We wanted to discuss a reduction on royalty rates, lease fee for mining, etc., apart from some other issues. These were part of our agenda item. So we have not received anything from the Minister of Finance. When you go, but this is a serious matter. A budget is about looking at the dynamics, the global dynamics, the national situation, and trying to ensure that you use what is happening globally in your best interest and to mitigate against negative trends at a global level to ensure continued growth, prosperity, etc. So it was hard, it's hard without these things it was hard to participate in a formal meeting with the Minister of Finance. It doesn't make sense because a budget is about numbers. You have to know what the fiscal room is so that we can then suggest various things. So from what we have heard, that one, the minister may talk about electricity. Let me make it clear. Let me tell you some of the expectations. We don't want the reduction in electricity rates and fuel rates to be part of a budget measure. That cannot be a budget measure. That's ongoing. So the huge savings that the country has seen, the $200 million that we have saved between 2014 and 2015 as a country by importing cheaper fuel, we want to see the benefits passed on in an ongoing way, not to wait at a once-in-a-year event around the budget. Because if that becomes the reality, then when there are needs for adjustments downwards, people would start expecting that that should only happen at budget time. Let me tell you what this has done. The non-reduction of the price at the pump has led